2, 3. We're going. Good to go? Yes.
You get a recess.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. We'll try this one. Nope. Good evening. Is that there?
Do you want to talk to this one?
No, that's fine. We're fine. Good evening. If you'll, we're going to call the meeting to order, and if you wouldn't mind standing, Pastor Roger Yodden is going to come forward and lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance thereafter. Pastor, thank you for being here.
Guidance and your wisdom, and to all of the citizens and civic leaders that are here, thank you for participating in our community. Lord, I just ask that you would be with us in this meeting, that you would give us wisdom and discernment. Your word says that if anyone lacks wisdom, let them ask, and that you would give it to them. And so today, I just ask that those that are pleading their case and those that are making decisions today, Lord, that the wisdom of the Lord would be with us, that we would do what is right for human flourishing and for the growth of our community and the strength of our community. And Lord, I just ask that you would place a hand of protection around those that are leading the way here in Nampa, those that are protecting us through first responders and those that are making decisions that impact all of our daily lives, that you'd protect them, that you'd guard their homes, that their homes would be just safe havens, a refuge, that they'd be places of peace, and that this city would continue to be just an absolutely wonderful place to live. We love you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Occasionally during the evening that you may experience a slight pause. That's okay, because I'm transitioning between trying to lead the meeting and also thinking about an agenda item. And I realize, and I haven't said that too much in the past weeks, but occasionally it seems like I've gone off course or silent, and it's because of trying to dual function on occasionally, and especially during the public hearing time. So appreciate your patience there, and clerk will call the roll.
Skog.
Here.
Jangula. Bills.
Here.
Reynolds.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Griffin. 4 present, 2 absent.
Thank you, Shar. Tonight we have 2 proclamations that going to read and going to present one to Lou Randolph. And so, Lou, thank you for standing there. So, whereas the annual distribution of Buddy poppies by the by the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States has been officially recognized and endorsed by governmental leaders since 1922. And VFW Buddy Poppies are assembled by disabled veterans, and proceeds of this worthy fundraising campaign are used exclusively for the benefit of disabled and veterans in need and the widows and orphans of deceased veterans. And whereas the basic purpose of the annual distribution of Buddy Poppies by the Veterans of Foreign Wars is eloquently reflected in the desire to honor the dead by helping the living. And whereas I urge the citizens of this community to recognize the merits of this cause and support their efforts to recognize the sacrifices of our honored dead, I also urge all patriotic citizens to wear a Buddy Poppy as mute evidence of our gratitude to the men and women of this country and who have risked their lives in defense of freedoms we continue to enjoy as American citizens. Now therefore, I, David Bills, Council President of the City of Nampa of Idaho, do hereby proclaim the days of May 21st, 22nd, and 23rd as 2026 as VFW Buddy Poppy Days. I furthermore urge citizens to support the VFW and go visit them at Albertsons at 12th and Greenhurst, DMV Supply, 12th Avenue, May 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. So, welcome to say something and proclamation will hand to you.
I want to thank the city.
Thank you.
We've been doing, the Post and Auxiliary has been in existence since 1936. And I'm sure Nampa has supported the veterans ever since. I got started in 1983 and I've been going constantly. And this is my commander, Don Tobias, and he's, between him and I, we've been doing between him the last 2 years, he's been handling the Buddy Poppies because I hurt myself and I have been busy. But we want to thank you for all you've done. I don't have any poppies today to give out. We usually do. Come by DMV and Albertsons on 12th Avenue, and we'll be there from 9 o'clock to 4, every day, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Excellent.
Thank you. Don, you want to say
Thank you.
something?
Don?
I guess I could. I'd like to welcome everybody here. Buddy Poppies at Albertsons, Wall Street there, on 12th Street. Of our donations, every bit of it, all the money that we take in. Anything, no matter what they need, if we, one is very hard-headed, and I'm gonna make sure. Our folks can help.
Thanks.
Oh. That's it. That's it.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
You can't get by. I'll come in and check on you.
I learned accountability when I was a youngster. And it still holds true today. All right. We have one more proclamation. So this proclamation is National Public Works Week, and whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are vital importance in sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the city of Nampa. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public work professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector. And whereas in public works professionals are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for civic leaders and citizens of all ages in the city of Napa to gain knowledge of and to maintain an interest in and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the city of Nampa is the largest full-service city in the state of Idaho, and whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association and Canadian Public Works Association. Now therefore, I, David Bills, Council President of the City of Nampa, do hereby proclaim May 17th through May 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week. And so I would urge you to continue to give thanks, or if you see folks who are in the public works side of life, to acknowledge their work, and we're appreciative to that. Tom?
Thank you, council.
Are you
for-
missing another crutch there?
What's that?
Are you missing another crutch?
No,
there?
not yet. Haven't had to do that yet. Thank you for asking, Councilor. So I just want to say thank you for recognizing Public Works Week. We always have a lot of fun here with doing some events for the school kids over at the Streets Yard. All the Public Works gets involved in that. It's a great thing for the community. I want to also just, again, thank the council for all the support. And it definitely takes an entire team to deliver what we do in Public Works, and we're proud and happy to do it. So thank you.
Excellent. Thanks, Tom. We can do a quick photo.
Oh, this is important.
Well, at this time, we're going to do one other event, is the City of Nampa, under the leadership of Amy Bowman, has handled and organized a Citizens Academy. And the Citizen Academy allows for folks to sign up and to participate for several weeks, learning about the details of the city of Nampa and the operation of the city. And so tonight we're, quote, going to recognize those who have been involved, and then and Amy's going to help take the lead on that, and I'm coming down, so there'll be just a slight pop.
And I'll just say just a few words, and then I don't know if we have a few people who are in our video at the end, but if there's anybody else that really wanted to say a few words, you're welcome to. So thank you. This is our third year for the Citizens Academy. Councilwoman Skog went through it last year before she was elected, so that was exciting. She got to see, learned a lot through all of the different departments, and so many of them participate. And this year, we're excited we got to go to the water renewal facility. Things I never thought I'd say before I worked in government, but there it is. And I do want to recognize Vanessa Jimenez, who did a whole bunch of work behind the scenes. So this will be one I will not soon forget, because this was the evening of our, I can't remember, it was our second or third class when I was sharing here, and then got the council, Mayor Hogaboam was in a critical incident. So it was a very interesting year, very, very sad, but anyway, it was also very educational. So does anybody want to share anything before we do the video? And it's only 3 minutes, so, okay, so now, hopefully it works.
I so enjoyed the Citizens Academy. It was a wonderful experience, and even though I've been involved with the city for about attending city council meetings for 5 years, I learned so much through these classes, and I highly recommend that if you have the opportunity to take the classes, because you'll learn so much about the complexities of the city, and you'll get to meet the great people who serve us as employees. And it's just a fantastic opportunity. So take advantage of
So
it.
the Citizens Academy I thought was great as a city employee. I mean, there's a lot of stuff you really don't know about the city, and if you live in Nampa, I think it's a perfect opportunity for you to learn a lot of what goes on and what each department does to keep the city running. Pretty cool.
One thing as a citizen of Nampa for over 40 years, it's just really nice to learn about the city you live in, and especially when you have a lot of neighbors and community members that don't have the correct information when they want to have dialect with, you know, what goes on within a city. It's just really nice to learn where your tax money dollars go and how the city operates as a whole.
So I'm just so excited that I took this Nampa Citizens Academy. I think it was 8 weeks long, so it wasn't a huge amount of time to commit to. But I have lived in Nampa for over 20 years, and I've learned more about my city in 8 weeks than I've known this whole 20 years. So I strongly recommend this. I've talked about it to everyone since I started. I've learned so many wonderful things. I've met a lot of really cool people, and it's just been the most enjoyable experience.
Okay, so with that, Clay Long is going to be brave. Now, be nice, because some of your names are complicated. So he's going to. So he will announce your name. You'll come up, and I will take a picture with your certificate facing like this. And then we'll have you guys stand in the back, and then we'll do one photo at the very end. Okay? Okay.
And I asked if I could just do first names, and she said no. So we're going to start with Henry Attesino. Yep, that one.
Wait, you have to be in the picture too. Oh, okay, you're not
I
in the
am?
picture?
Oh, no.
Okay, you stand in the middle. You stand in the middle, Henry. Okay. No, you. Okay, the next will be easier.
No, it's not easier. The name is Lydia Buderoff. That one. Congratulations.
Go. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Ileana Carson. John Forst. Linda Hartz.
If y'all would come back over here by me, we want to shake your hands as well. So, sir, come back over.
Oh, yeah, let's do this.
Chris Haskell. Cheryl Higley.
He is. I know.
Jerry Ann Ireland. Dylan's not here. Shirley's not here. Amity Marcado. Rosa is not here. Chris Ocker. You did it. Janet? Ramoski? Carmen St. Louis? Joe Shefferell. Carol Shackelford. Sandra Smith.
She's been coding for it.
Jay Snyder. Do you want me to take it?
No, it's okay. It could be fine. Here we go. All right,
That's all right. He hates me.
Well, it's all the staff, not me. So we're, okay.
Amy, thank you very much. On the night that Rick passed, Citizen Academy was meeting, and that was obviously a difficult meeting for folks who were here, but also for the staff who was here. And so it kind of a hallmark evening for those who were here participating, and we appreciate how everybody handled the news and the situation that we walked through that evening. We'd like to move forward with any amendments to the agenda.
President, I
Yes,
do like to take 110B off and
110, is
discuss that.
that D or B?
B is in boy, sir. 110B. It is the purchase of water division pipe, parts, tent, canvas replacement. It's under miscellaneous items.
So it's after the license renewals?
Yes, sir.
And you said B?
Yes, B is in boy.
Okay. So we'll move 1B, or excuse me, 1-10B to new business. John Spencer, is he here this evening? John, thank you. So not yet, but here soon.
Thank
Any
you.
other comments or changes? All in favor with the change that has been made? Thank you, Shar. So with that change, need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Otherwise, consent agenda?
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, John, we're going to have you come forward, and we're going to allow you, or ask you to answer some questions there.
Thank you. The $66,000 for a tent, is that, that's a replacement for what? You're covering some of the material, right?
Council President Bills, Councilman Rodriguez, John Spencer, Director of Water Resources. Yes, this is replacing the tent canvas over the existing structure. The tent canvas is its end of its useful life, and that tent is where we store a lot of our pipe for replacements.
Okay, so have you had, since it's 66,000, have you had any other ideas of equal cost that would be a better facility? Make it, tent is just a tent. I'm thinking about a structure, or aluminum, or tin, or something a little more sturdier than a tent.
Council President Bills, Councilman Rodriguez. As far as costs go, this is really the most cost-effective way to protect that material. Really, we're just looking to protect it from UV. So the tent really is the most cost-effective way to protect that.
I see. One more last, sir. Where is this 66,000 coming from?
Councilman Bills, Councilman Rodriguez, it is coming from the capital budget from the Water Division. And then there's a portion coming from operations because of the difference in the price from when we priced it during the budget season last year.
I think when it first came out, you were in the 50s, right?
That is correct.
And now it's up to 66. Why the increase?
Councilman Rodriguez, the increase is due to manufacturing costs. I believe it's also petroleum-based, and with the cost of petroleum products in the current situation, those costs have gone up. They have said also these prices only will be guaranteed for 15 days.
I see. So will this affect the increase in property taxes by where you get the money from? I don't remember where you get it from.
Councilman Rodriguez, the water division is funded by rates. And this is a operational and capital combined budget source. This is all within the existing budget and will not relate directly back to rates.
Okay, one last, sir. Is this in the amended budget that we're going to be, that finance is going to be presenting?
Councilman Rodriguez, this is in the approved budget.
Oh, I see, the 26 budget.
Correct.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
John, thank you. So I need a motion to approve.
So move, sir.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Staff communications, Public Works communication. Tom and Crystal? Crystal, it's good to see you. You're moving, you're agile, life's going great. Tom's coming. Yeah. At your expense, we needed a little humor. Great, okay.
All right.
Crystal.
Good evening, council members. For the record, Crystal Craig, Director of Transportation. Today, I would like to give a report out on May 7th, so just a couple weeks ago, last week, no, 2 weeks ago, I don't know what day it is. In the very recent past, we hosted our 4th annual Heavy Equipment Rodeo and welcome contestants from the streets, traffic, water renewal, and parks divisions this year. It's a competition event that features a skills-based course for loaders and snowplows and skid steers, highlighting the expertise of our dedicated staff in daily operations. Kelly and Casey, our Public Works communication team, developed this little video that I'd like to share. Thanks, Clay, for stopping that. That would have just kept on a loop. So as you can see, that was a little snippet of what it looked like for the day. The course is actually very, very challenging. We had 2 council members that came and joined this year. Councilman Reynolds, I think, has been in the equipment in previous years, and Councilman Griffin, actually, you saw on the video right there, he was operating the loader when he made that basket. So we're very excited to have your guys' support. With that, I'd like to bring up a couple of people that made this happen, as well as showcase our winners of this year. So I'd like to invite Tomas Chavez up. And gentlemen, when I call your names, if you could come up, I'd appreciate it. So this is, as I said, this is our 4th year. Tomas really took the bull by the horns, so to speak, this year, volunteered to host it and put it on completely. It showed great leadership potential, and he really excelled at it. He brought in a couple of new innovative ideas, and because of that, this was our largest turnout yet. We had 20 participants, and 12 participants, I believe, were from other divisions. Did I get that right? Which is really, really awesome. We don't just have great operators in our streets divisions, we have great operators across the city, so we're here to showcase all of them. With that, I would like to talk about our 4 overall winners. First, I'd like to bring up Brad Farner from the Streets Division. He was this year's overall first place winner. Next, I'd like to bring up Sean Swainson. He's actually from our Fleet Division. He won not only the loader competition, but also the skid steer competition. Next, I'd like to bring up Doug Eakin from our Streets Division. He won the snowplow competition.
Okay.
And last, but certainly not least, I'd like to bring up Bert Croy. He was a two-time winner from 2 previous years, and it just makes sense that he's in this year's top contenders too. So these 4 winners will travel to the APWA National Equipment Rodeo in Loveland, Colorado this September. Not only will the employees gain insights that they can bring back to our organization, but will also have the chance to network with and learn from peers and industry leaders. They will also have the unique opportunity to showcase their skills during the national demonstration. I'd also like to note, in the last few years, we have placed top 10 in the nation. And this really highlights our commitment to the excellence and innovation in their fields. So thank you, gentlemen. Can we get a photo?
I think I'll just stand here.
Stick over. Big deal. Just we'll work around it. Thank you. Really good. I love this. Got it from here?
Okay, council, we have one more recognition for you. I'm not sure everybody knew, we've got a challenge coin program in Public Works where employees or supervisors can nominate their peers, and it goes through a committee, internal committee, and we decide, this one is, we don't usually come to council to give out these, but we think this one's pretty cool and it's a good story. So the things that we consider for the challenge coins are retirements, heroism, innovations that are major cost savings of the city, lifetime achievements, safety achievements. So if we could have AJ come up, AJ Biljack. So as he's coming up, I'll tell the story here. So I'll just read what the reason for the nomination. AJ helped Austin, who was stuck in the mud in his electric wheelchair near North Side and 3rd. He had been there approximately 5 minutes before AJ noticed and offered to help. Austin then had this to say on online submittal form. Good morning. I'm writing to congratulate AJ with the traffic division for helping me with my wheelchair on North Side and 2nd. I was stuck in the mud with my wheelchair, and he pushed me out and got me to the sidewalk. Want to make sure this got to his supervisor. Absolutely stunning man. Sincerely, Austin. So.
Excellent.
Is there anything else? I'm not moving, I'm standing right here.
This is the most exercise you've had all day.
I know.
Rodney. Planning and Zoning Director Rodney Ashby, thank you.
You bet. Council President and City Council, we had 3 different consent agenda items on Planning and Zoning Commission's meeting this last week. The first one was Fenway number 2 subdivision, final plat subdivision, and that was recommended for approval. That came to you and was on your consent agenda today. And the next one was a final plat approval for 7 Maples Ranch subdivision. again, was on your consent agenda. That was subdivision number 3. And then just an extension for a final plat approval for Fenway number 1. That's for a year extension, and that was approved. The public hearings, we had a comprehensive plan map amendment at 5601 East Locust Lane for a cottage-style townhouse development. That was recommended for denial, and that was 5 in favor of the denial and 2 against. And that will come before you on July 20th. The next one is a short plat for Happy Valley Industrial Development at 76 North Happy Valley Road. And this is for 4 industrial lots. And that was recommended for approval. And that was on your consent agenda today. And then finally, the city ordinance text amendments that we've been working on, that one was recommended for approval, and that will come before you on June 15th. And that's all I have.
Rodney, thank you. Any questions, council? Ever good? Okay, appreciate the update. So moving on with new business, 5.1 is a action item, and looking for Tom.
Sir, I'll make a motion to approve James Blitz with the Board of Appraisers.
Second.
Motion and a second to appoint James Bledsoe. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Gog.
Yes.
Bills.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
James, it's good to see you. Just an FYI, he knows this. His father was the city engineer of the city of Nampa when my father and I came to Nampa in '94 and started putting in developments. And his father was a super individual to work with, and at times helped us out, us having opportunity to help the city out. It was a great working relationship. And James has been involved in helping engineering issues as well as serving and with the city of Nampa as well. And so we just really appreciate, and thank you for continuing to go on to another time to continue to help us. So I know you'd love to speak. You're good. I said that a little bit in jest, knowing, so we appreciate, yes. Okay, we're going to keep moving. Business item 5-2 is to award a bid and authorize council president to sign contract with Hobson Fabricating for the Hugh Nichols Public Safety Building Condenser Water System Upgrades Project in the amount of $706,350. And it's a budgeted item. Clay?
Council President, I'll make a motion to approve this item, and then I have one comment on that as soon as we get a second on it.
There a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Question?
So, Council President, I spoke with Clay about this earlier. I would like to, what was in our packet seemed to be a corrupted file, so I wasn't able to review it, and I missed the last construction meeting. But I would like to have some information on what the spec was for the water treatment for this, for our closed loop at Hugh Nichols, and then also for the new condenser water system, what the chemical treatment is. So it looks like we're under budget on it, so if it's not in there, it's probably the most important thing we can spend dollars on is water treatment for that closed loop. So I would like to have some follow-up information on that, if you can.
Council President, Councilman, we'll get you the file and document, and then have Brian give you a call first thing tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Yes, sir, I have some.
Yes.
Is there any alternative for a lower cost of system that you can put in there other than what this company's telling us to do?
Council President, Councilman, for the size of the building, it's in line with what we would expect. What we're trying to do is abandon the current system that's the high energy efficiency. Additionally, we're putting back up an additional units for upstairs in the command center and dispatch. So in the event that power goes out, those are on a separate system. I think when we look at some of our other buildings that are not quite that size, we're looking at a similar cost for an HVAC replacement.
Okay, where is this money coming from?
This was in the FY '26 budget from the capital projects. We allocated in FY '25, council approved $150,000 to get the design work going, and then they allocated an additional $850 for the FY '26 budget. You'll notice this comes in about $100,000 under budget.
Yes, and I'm thinking, is this in the police budget, or is this totally separate?
It's in the capital budget for the facilities, not allocated specific to the police department.
Okay,
It's not coming out of police.
right, that's okay, I wanted to make sure of that. Also, what is the time frame that they're gonna start on this?
That's a great question. I would have to get the project manager involved for that. I suspect as soon as we get the contract signed, we would get a project, a scope of plan put together for dates. Obviously, our goal is quick as possible. The system we have now is working okay, but we recognize we have issues with it every year, so the systems will be able to run simultaneously while they make the changeover.
Okay, one last question, sir. The only thing I'm asking, wondering about this is because due to the costs that are rising now, is this a fixed amount or is that gonna increase?
That's the amount that was submitted in the bid package, so they would be held to that amount.
That's held to this, okay, thank you.
That's one reason we're trying to get these projects out the
Yes.
door.
Council President,
Yes.
I might just add that that building was built as a green project, failed. It was a ground source heat pump loop, and nothing but problems since it was placed. And this is my line of work. I reviewed the documents until the file kind of blew up on me. Spoke with Bill Musgrove about it at length. The numbers that came back, I was surprised that we were under budget. There were some good numbers here, and I think it's partly due to the alternates that are allowed, substitutions on pumps and cooling tower and that kind of thing in the boilers. This is the best fix for that building. It hasn't been reliable. It's been hot. It's been cold. It's been everything in between, and this will give them options. So confident with what Musgrove designed for us, and then the prices we got back seem to be.
Okay, any other questions? Roll call?
Sills,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Skog,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Our next item is an action item to authorize execution of a Public Works task order for Next Gen for asset management software implementation for streets, traffic, airport, in the amount not to exceed $182,072. Crystal is available if you have questions.
Council President, I'll make a motion to approve this item.
Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Bills,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Skog,
Yes.
Reynolds. All in favor, motion carries.
Action item, new business 5-4 is to authorize execution of a contract with HDR Inc. for the Transportation Master Plan update in the amount not to exceed $776,178. And it was approved under the FY '26 operations budget and pending approval of a budget amendment for rollover funds. Crystal is available as well as if you have questions on this one.
I do have questions. Mr. Booth.
Crystal, need to ask you to come forward. Councilman Rodriguez.
Thank you. So in 25, we approved apparently 200,000, and 26, 200,000, and 27, 400,000. Why is the $200,000 difference?
For the record, council members, Crystal Craig, Director of Transportation, Councilman Rodriguez. So we originally put this out for RFP in fiscal year 2025. So we fully anticipated to start the project in 25, spend around $200,000 and then continuing it in 26. We had a very large wish list of items and a very limited budget to get it. So it took a significant amount of time of rescoping and negotiations in order to get it to the point that we're at now. The original scope, based on our current wish list of like what we wanted in this, was about $1.25 million. So it took us that 6 to 9 months to remove scope, negotiate hours down, and we were able to reduce the cost of this project by 42%, which is what we're presenting to you now.
Follow up.
Yes.
Does this include them coming to Nampa, spending time in Nampa? Are we paying for all their motels and travel time and hourly wage and everything else expense that they're giving us? Because I don't think $776,000, I think that's way too much.
Council President, Councilman Rodriguez, HDR is the consultant that we negotiated with for this. They are a local firm. They're located in downtown Boise, so they do have to travel the half hour that it takes here. Much of this work will be on a planning level, so it's not necessarily in-field work as much. We have a pavement condition index, which we'll be doing in-house and providing the information that will require that. But other than that, a lot of the work isn't travel-based, and they are local.
Okay, the last question. So do you think that one of our in-house could do this?
Councilman? Absolutely not, if I'm being very candid. We did a literature survey, so to speak, of other entities of similar size that had to do a transportation master plan update like this. We were able to get 5 different people, or 5 different cities. It's very hard to compare apples to apples here because every city is a different size. They all have different problems. We looked at Spokane, Washington. They had 6 internal staff people for 1.5 years. And some of them, I guess, were a half a year. So 5 total full-time equivalents for a year and a half to get their master transportation plan updated. Logan, Utah, also used internal staff, and they paid a consultant $200,000. The city of Bend, which is probably the most similar in size and structure to the city of Nampa, completely outsourced this to a consultant. It cost them $1.6 million in order to accomplish it. I feel confident that what we have negotiated with HDR will give us the best product and the best bang for our buck from this.
Okay, thank you.
Crystal, once this plan is done, is it a 5-year, 10-year out? I think it's listed in there, but I don't recall, so I'm asking.
You're good. Great question, Councilman Bells. Typically, we like to see master plan updates every 5 to 7 years. Our last one was in 2019, so I stretched it to that 7-year mark, first because they're expensive, and second because I'm trying to align the transportation master plan with the utility master plan, so we're not updating one when one is really old and they don't match very well. So we're trying to get them closer to alignment.
Great. And then their work will be consistent with some of the work that we've already been designing and pre-planning for, like the Garrity area is already kind of in motion on design and so forth.
Absolutely. So
Yep.
this master plan update will look at the Compass comprehensive plan, the comp plan update that that Rodney is doing and his team is doing, as well as developing an entirely new ITS plan. We didn't have one in the past because we didn't have our transportation management center. And bringing in the bike and ped master plan, which used to be a standalone plan and now will be part of the transportation process right at the beginning instead of coming in at the tail end.
Great. Other
Question
questions?
for finance.
Question, Doug?
So, Doug, the 400,000, since our budget's going to be really tight this year, I consider this timing issue. We already have 400,000 in there now from previous years, but where are we coming up with the 400,000 for year 27?
Well, let's separate a couple of issues here. we are going to be perpetually tight on budgets, whether it's streets or general gov fund or anybody else, so we need to make sure we're spending those monies wisely. However, be aware that the general government monies that we receive for police and most of the funding of the city operations you see here are property tax and shared revenue, while the funds coming to support most of what Crystal is doing come from highway district revenues, road and bridge tax, and various other funding sources. There's a little bit of property tax thrown in there. So this becomes a matter of a priority. They have funding there, but it's the matter of priorities of where they spend it to get the most bang for the buck. And if, you know, I can't speak to the need of the master study. It seems like a lot to me, but it's not a question of do they have the money? It's a question, is the money being spent correctly on this right project? And I can't answer that, but that's a question for you and the council to determine.
Follow up, sir. So then if we could give them, just say 400,000 now, and then in an amended 27, 28 budget, we could give them another 400,000 when things, we can see what the budget's all about? Is that smart thinking?
Well,
or
it depends on what you're trying to get out of the project. I don't know if you could,
I'm going to jump in. No,
Okay.
if we're going to enlist their help and contract with them to do the job, it's for the whole job. And so we've got to commit at the beginning, because we're expecting them to come in and deliver the study, the plan that we need that's going to help us for the next several, like Crystal said, a good 5 to 7 years minimum. And so it's not, hey, we start, and then if we don't have the money, we're determining right now, we're going to budget, we're going to set the money for this project. It's crucial for us to keep the infrastructure design work and planning moving forward. So it's a commitment now, but it will be wise that we do so.
I'm struggling, sorry.
If I may also add, Council President and Councilman Rodriguez, for the bulk of the grants that we go for, in order to be eligible for them, we have to show that we have long-range planning and have a prioritized list of projects. This will also look into our deferred maintenance problem, which was not really addressed in our previous plans. So this will really give us a prioritized list of what roads we need to hit first, what's going to give us the highest ROI, provide the best safety benefits and things like that, so that we're not trying to just do it in-house and pick based on what we think is the worst. It will also look into workforce development and give us better insights of what we need, how many people we need to maintain the roads, what sorts of equipment we need, and things like that.
So if we approve this, then it opens the door on federal grants for a few, okay, that's all I needed to hear.
Okay. I think we have a motion on the,
Council President, I'll make a motion to approve this item.
thank you. We have a motion and a second. Clerk will call the roll.
Bills,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Gog,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Next, we're close to the public hearing time, but want to get this next action item in. Parks and Rec requests authorization for reallocation of $90,000 that wasn't needed on the fiscal 26 West Park and moving it to another place. Cody, thank you.
Council President, I'll make a motion to approve this item.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Gog,
Yes.
Bills,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Cody, you did well. That was a good exercise up and back. Let's see, we have one more action item. The first reading of the ordinance and approval of publication of ordinance summary expanding the boundaries of the municipal irrigation district of the city of Nampa by inclusion of real properties contained in Exhibit A. And Daniel has put this together. Is there any questions for him? And we are asking to pass this under suspension of rules.
An ordinance of the City of Nampa, Idaho, annexing a portion of the underlying irrigation district into the municipal irrigation district of the City of Nampa, Canyon County, Idaho, and changing the boundaries thereof, allowing for a summary of this ordinance to be published and directing the city engineer to alter the use and area map accordingly, providing for recordation, providing for severability, providing effective date, repealing all ordinances, resolutions, orders, or parts thereof in conflict herewith.
Council President, I move that we pass this under suspension of rules.
We have a motion and a second to pass under suspension of rules. The ordinance has been first read. Any other thoughts, questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Sills.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Skog.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Next is our public hearing time, and it's 6 o'clock, and so we're going to proceed forward with the first public hearing, and which is the proposed fiscal 26 first budget amendment. And Doug, I think, left the bench and is right there. Thank you. I wasn't seeing you behind the screen.
Not trying to hide.
Just a 5-second, oops, what's going? There we go.
Oh. Great. Make that a bit larger. Okay. Council President, councilors, this is the first budget amendment for FY '26. We typically do two, one in the spring and one in the fall. The first one, and this is no exception, is primarily related to rollovers of expenditures budgeted in the prior year or prior years that have not been completed, and we're rolling funds from one year to the next for the budgetary completion. We break it down between the types of spending, which would be new items or new budgetary items as compared to rollovers. So I'd like to spend just a minute walking through some of the significant items here for your approval. All of the items here, and if you don't have this, I can send it to you in this attachment. On one of the tabs here, it shows the approval date of each of these items in prior city councils. So we can, if it's not in your current file, I can send that to you. The first section let me briefly go down to the bottom. The total amendment request is for $14,742,226. Actually, that's not a bad rollover. When we first seek input from the departments, we filter out a lot of things that are uncertain. So if a department says, oh, I'm likely to spend money on something, I want to roll it over, if they're not entirely certain that it's ready to go, it's going to happen, we make them defer it until the August amendment if they've already received budgetary authority from the council, they can go ahead and proceed, and then we can amend it later. But we spend a lot of time weeding out all the things we don't need to. Small expenses, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 that can be absorbed in current budgetary authorities, or significant rollovers that are uncertain. So we spend a fair amount of time, probably about 2 months, really putting this together. So this represents a lot of work to get the numbers. But in this case, out of the $14 million, $6.5 million are for new items. And the majority of that comes from grants and water renewal, $4.6 million in grants. That's an airport, or the airport, AWAS, stormwater, and streets grants. Those are new grants we've received after the end of the budget year. So they're not coming from property tax dollars, it's new monies coming to the city from outside sources. There's a police vehicle for $91,000. It was for a vehicle ordered in the prior year, but not delivered, pretty much till this year. Water renewal, 1.5 for order of equipment in the prior year that didn't get here until now. And some streets and traffic for work at Pine and Lincoln, Greenhurst and Roosevelt and Marketplace. And that's all the requests for the new monies. In looking down at the existing, or the rollovers, we have about 10 or 15 items. Most of them are very small in amounts. Only one from general government which is funded by the rollover from funds from the prior year, $141,000 for security upgrades, and a rollover of some legal funds for the legal department from the FY25 budget. And the security upgrades are primarily here in City Hall. The Nampa Civic Center of $430,000. We budgeted this correctly in 2026, but we didn't extend the budget to go to the Civic Center. We kind of left it in our capital department. So this isn't a new spend. This is just making sure it's budgeted appropriately at its ending designation, which is in the Nampa Civic Center, and that was for sound system and theater seats. Airport, a small AWAS, a match for the AWAS and Stormwater Department funding. Harvard Rec Center. The bigger one for streets, multiple street projects in 25, and if you'd like me to, I can bring them up. It's on the adjacent street, or the adjacent tab. Some impact fees for the Houston corridor, $458,000. There's some capital projects from the parks, the police, and police at two sections, $213,400 and $665,701 are both partly related to the police and flooring, motorcycles. The $213,000 was for motorcycles awarded in the prior year that are delivered this year, and a little bit of the geothermal upgrade design that was talked about in an earlier cycle tonight for the Hugh Nichols Public Safety Building HVAC upgrade. And then there's some water spending rollovers for water, 16th and 9th line replacement and water the admin building. There are also a grant of $1.7 million for ARPA funding. That's the probably one of the last times we'll bring forward the grant funding for ARPA. It's rolling it over for 16th and 19th. As many of you are aware, all of the ARPA funds need to be completely spent by the end of calendar 26, and we're well on our way to that. We have very little left over. This is just one of the last numbers. So that leaves us with the residual or the total for the $14.7 million in spending. It's worthy to note that the fund balance is accounting for about $9.4 million of the spend, plus $141 from general government, as well as new funding transfers, $5.1 million, $5.177 million. And with that, I'll stand for any questions or go into any details you counselors would like to talk about.
Doug, thank you. Council, any questions for Doug? Seeing what the amendments are going towards? So I would,
I'll make a motion, sir. No, this is public hearing. Never mind.
public hearing. Doug, thank you.
That's all I have.
Yep. This is a public hearing, and so if you have, do we have anybody signed up?
No, Mr. Chair.
Is there anybody here wishing to testify on this particular item of the public hearing? Not seeing any. I think, Doug, you've covered it. We appreciate it. Ask that we have a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there any other discussion or questions? Clerk will call the roll. Well, we don't have a motion. Sorry about that.
Council President, I'll move that we pass this budget amendment as presented.
Is there a second? Councilman Rodriguez?
Second.
Thank you. I just want to make sure you did say second.
Oh, yes.
I keep hearing feedback over on the right side here. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Now we'll call for roll call.
Gog,
Yes.
Bills,
Yes.
Rodriguez,
Yes, I also want to point out that this does not increase property taxes at all. It's already been funded. Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Excellent. Our next public hearing is a variance. That's what's in 7? Thank you. Well, bear with my inexperience. So action item is to first reading of ordinance adopting the fiscal 26 first budget amendment, and the request is to pass this under suspension of rules.
An ordinance of the City of Nampa, Idaho, amending appropriations ordinance for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2025, and ending September 30th, 2026, appropriating additional monies that are to be received by the City of Nampa, Idaho, and providing an effective date.
Mr. President, I move this pass under suspension of rules.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass the ordinance under suspension of rules. Any other discussion? Clerk will now call the roll.
Bills,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Skog,
Yes.
Reynolds. All in favor, motion carries.
Excellent. Public hearing 6-2 is a variance to the ordinance requiring a minimum of 8,500 square feet, dealing with some changes that took place. And so the applicant, here later.
Good evening, Council. My name is Wendy Sharif. I'm a Director of Florida Planning with KB Home, and I'm here this evening with the variance request, and I'll kind of explain the basis of our request. Variance is a serious thing, but I think in this instance, we do qualify and meet your criteria. We are, so I'll go ahead and move to the next slide. This is going to tell you we're great. I'll skip through that. Okay, so Cherry Grove number 6, I want to show you where this phase is located. We are in the last phase of Cherry Grove subdivision. So we have completed and recorded final plats for the first 5 phases. When this plat, what the preliminary plat was originally approved, Pioneer Irrigation did not have a policy where they required for their easements for their laterals to be entirely outside of subdivision lots. So I'll go ahead and show you our plat. In this instance, we have 7 lots that we are underneath the minimum for our PUD, which we received with the RS 8.5 zoning. We are underneath by the minimum lot size of 6,800 square feet for 7 of these lots. And this is where we are bordering, where we have the 5.5 lateral in the rear yards. On the previous phases of the subdivision where we were adjacent to this lateral, portions of this easement we had run through the residential lots. With this change with Pioneer, they are now requiring that that easement for the lateral be held in its own common lot. With that change, we have 7 lots in this corner where we are adjacent to this lateral, where we are slightly under the minimum lot size. We still will meet all required setbacks for that zone, and our homes will still fit. So really, it's the material change is rather than a portion of that easement being in a rear yard, it is going to be in a common lot adjacent to those residential lots. So our lots are slightly smaller. When we'd originally designed the subdivision with the preliminary plat, this code was not on the books with Pioneer Irrigation District, or we would have planned accordingly at that time. So the variance request is really so that we can continue our subdivision and plat out our entitled lots. This is the last phase. If we'd been earlier on in the phase, we potentially could have moved open space or moved roadways. When you're in the last phase of a subdivision, you're essentially kind of boxed in where you don't have anywhere where you can pull that additional area from. So that's my request here this evening. And the other lots in this phase all meet the requirements for the zone. It is just these 7 lots, entirely due to this change with Pioneer Irrigation. We first, of course, went to Pioneer, requested their approval to reconsider, allow us to put the lot, and we were told, nope, this must be in a common lot, it is a new policy. So I'm here for any questions.
Council members, any questions of Wendy at the moment? Wendy, I have a follow-up question.
Yes.
So the overall square footage, I think, was listed here in our packet, but right at the moment, I'm not finding it, but it seemed like,
We have a PUD for the subdivision, so the minimum square footage would be 6,800 square feet. And our lots we have 7 lots, which are underneath that square footage. We still will meet your front and rear setbacks for that zone.
but the difference is just, what, a couple hundred square feet per lot?
Yes, it's minimal,
Yeah,
yes.
that's what I'm trying to just have established on the record.
It is minimal, yes. Okay, and
At this point, we'll,
thank you very much.
let you sit
And
down
staff
for a
has been
moment.
great to work with. They actually recommended we apply for this variance when I was trying to figure out how we were going to get this last phase of the subdivision to work. So they've been very helpful.
Okay,
Thank you.
so.
A question for legal, sir.
Yes, sir.
When we do a modification like this, or a variance issue like this, where we approved the initial diagram or plat, now there's another issue that has, like this one's come up. Is this the right direction for us to modify that document to allow the variance?
Council President? It's a good question, but it's a hard question to answer.
Yeah, that's what I figured, yeah.
That really is a policy call for you, and staff will be presenting some of the more technical analysis for that. Variances really are a tool that legislature has given the city council for scenarios that may be unforeseen, they may be obscure or unusual. It is a quasi judicial hearing. So what that means is there's a little more weight given to each factor here. Staff is going to go through that here in a good order. But it's a good question, but more policy point I think you've raised here.
He's running it back to us then.
Yeah.
We have the authority to do that, I get that.
Yeah, yeah.
Want to make sure that this is the right alternative for us.
Yeah.
Okay,
Good question.
thank you.
Okay. Candace?
Good evening, Council President and Council. My name is Candace Fry, Associate Planner for the City of Nampa. The request before you this evening is a variance of Nampa City Code 10-8-5.b and 10-26-4b and c, requiring a minimum lot size of 8,500 square feet in an RS 8.5 zoning district in the Cherry Grove subdivision. The original concept, instead of using the Pioneer irrigation easement, a portion of the property, the applicant is splitting off the easement as a separate lot, creating 7 substandard size lots on the eastern side of the development. The property details: the property is currently in Nampa city limits and is zoned RS 8.5, single-family residential. The surrounding zoning to the north is Canyon County. To the west is RS 8.5, single-family residential, the previous phases of Cherry Grove. To the east is Canyon County, to the south is Canyon County, and the comprehensive plan designates this area as medium-density residential. The variance is requested to allow 7 substandard size residential lots in Cherry Grove number 6. Per the approved plan unit development, Cherry Grove requires a minimum lot size of 6,800 square feet. There are 7 lots that are under the 6,800 square feet requirement and are included in this variance, and they are highlighted here for reference. The lot sizes proposed will range in size from 6,263 square feet to 6,533 square feet. The reason for the request is because Pioneer Irrigation has recently changed their policy regarding irrigation easements in residential lots, and irrigation easements must be included in a separate common lot. Regardless of this requirement, the land area that was originally designed and approved with the preliminary plat is the same, and it won't be encompassed by each lot. The planned unit development was approved in June of 2022. Previous phases of the subdivision have already established the roadway alignments for this phase, making a redesign virtually impossible. Aside from the lot size of these 7 lots, all other bulk standards have been met. Here are the applicable regulations for the RS zone. Also included on this slide are the minimum and maximum lot sizes in the RS 8.5 zone. Here are the applicable regulations for the variance chapter. The variance criteria is shown on the next slide. Shown on this slide is the variance criteria for a variance from 1024-2. For correspondence, there were no comments that had been received related to this application. Findings, here are the findings for the variance, and there are some facts that are highlighted for you here on the screen, but they are also listed in the staff report. Weighing the requirements of Nampa City Code in combination with the facts listed in the staff report and a lack of agency comments, the proposed project meets all of the requirements for the requested variance. The new policy by the irrigation district creates property limitations that do not apply generally to other properties within the area. Literal interpretation of the code would require that the applicant/owner redesign a subdivision layout that has already been established by the preliminary plat and roadway alignments in previous phases. There are extraordinary site characteristics applicable to the property involved which do not generally apply to the other properties classified in the same zoning district because of the location of the 5.5 lateral and the new policies from Pioneer Irrigation District. The granting of the variance will not constitute a grant of special privilege inconsistent with the limitations on other properties classified in the same zoning district because it is zoned RS 8.5 and it has an approved PUD for smaller lot sizes and the land area is still the same. It just isn't included in the individual parcels. This project will not be detrimental to the public, health, safety, or welfare, to properties or improvements in the vicinity because it is an approved subdivision layout and meets all other code requirements for design and construction. Here are the potential conditions of approval. Council may add any if they would like. Here are the potential motions, and I will stand for any questions.
Candace, thank you. I think your first time for appearing before City Council?
Yes, it is.
Very good.
Thank you.
Council, we're going to have public hearing, and then we'll see if there's any questions. Is somebody signed up?
No, Mr. Chair.
We have nobody signed up to comment on this. Is anybody here who would like to comment? Seeing none, we'll ask if the applicant wants to make any closing remarks.
Councilman, if you have any reservations, please let me know. We would like to request this variance. We would end up losing a residential lot without the variance, which there's a lot of cost associated with that after you've made these improvements and put in roadways and utilities. So it's an ask that we need to make this evening. So thank you very much. Let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Wendy. Call for a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for closing the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any council discussion?
President, I move to recommend approval of this project as stated on the screen.
Is there a second? We have a motion and a second to approve the variance as presented. Any other discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Bills.
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Skog. Yes. Reynolds. Yes. All in favor, motion carries.
Wendy, thank you. Our next hearing this evening is an annexation and zoning to RS4 and for Oaks Residential Zoning District, Potential Development Agreement, Plan Unit Development and Subdivision. Preliminary plat approval for Oaks Landing addressed as 2815 and 2724 North Middleton Road for Trilogy Development, representing Open Door Rentals and Endurance Holdings. Original concept, 85 single-family detached dwelling units and 10 common lots. We're there.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Awesome, thank you. Council President Bills, members of the council, hello and good evening. For the record, my name is Sabrina Durchie, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant. My business address is 5179 South Boven Avenue, Boise, Idaho 83716. And this evening, I have the honor and privilege to presenting to you our application for Oaks Landing subdivision. So first, I'd like to welcome you to Oaks Landing. Oaks Landing is envisioned as a welcoming, vibrant community, thoughtfully designed as a charming infill neighborhood nestled within a tree-lined setting. With comfort, connection, and character at the forefront, this community blends timeless architectural detail with modern livability to create a place that feels both inviting and enduring. What you're seeing here is our primary entry monumentation. This feature is located at the corner of Hunt and Middleton. This monumentation has been intentionally designed to create a strong sense of arrival, framed with layered landscaping, natural materials, and a cohesive design that reflects the overall character of our neighborhood. Now, I'd like to welcome you into our main entrance from Middleton Road into Oaks Landing. You'll notice the streetscape is designed to feel intimate and welcoming with tree-lined corridors, thoughtful plantings, and homes oriented toward the street to create a strong neighborhood presence. A key element here is how the landscaping and the pathway system work together, softening the edges, providing visual interest, and creating a more pedestrian-friendly environment throughout the site. And this isn't just about individual lots, it's about how the neighborhood feels as a whole, comfortable, connected, and thoughtfully designed for everyday living. Now, taking a look at the overall development, the site has been intentionally designed to provide an appropriate transition within the area. This area in Nampa is very unique and is really a melting pot of multiple uses and densities. The property is enclave between established older county parcels to the west and south, and is just feet away from the more intense commercial corridor along the Nampa-Caldwell Boulevard. With such a vast diversity of land uses, the project was designed very thoughtfully as an infill neighborhood, one that is compatible in scale and use with the surrounding residential, while also responding to the increasing intensity of development nearby. Overall, Oaks Landing serves as that transition, helping bridge the gap between the existing lower density residential and the evolving commercial and higher density areas nearby. With Oaks Landing, we're requesting annexation, zoning of R4, a plan unit development, and a preliminary plat. We have 85 single-family lots with 10 common lots, and our gross density will be 5.49 units per acre. Our residential lot sizes will range from 3,232 square feet up to 5,499. The current comp plan designates the site as commercial. However, given its mid-block location and existing residential surrounding the property, we believe a medium-density residential designation is a more appropriate fit for the site. To support that, we're requesting to stretch the medium-density residential designation to this property to create a necessary land use transition. This approach keeps the commercial intensity focused along the major corridors while allowing Oaks Landing to function as a compatible, well-planned residential buffer within this evolving area. So to better understand how the site fits within the area, it's best to take a closer look at the surrounding context in detail. To the north, we have unincorporated county parcels, along with a mix of established commercial and service uses, including B&W Wrecker Services, Evergreen Mobile Home Park, Boulevard Plaza, Dennis Dillon Auto, and Jackson's Gas Station. To the east are additional unincorporated county parcels transitioning into a strong commercial corridor along Caldwell Boulevard, including uses such as College of Western Idaho and other established businesses. To the southeast, the area is characterized by industrial commercial uses, including Republic Service Recycling, West Valley Baptist Church, Eagle Transfer Movers, and then directly south, we have a mix of unincorporated parcels and established commercial and residential uses, including the Logan Apartments, Maverick, Burger King, Dutch Bros, Karcher Acres subdivision, which was originally platted in 1970. West directly is established single-family residential neighborhoods, including Midway Park, Addition platted in 1965, and Moss Point platted in 2004. All of this demonstrates that Oaks Landing is thoughtfully positioned to serve as a natural transition between the surrounding commercial, industrial, and established residential uses, creating a compatible and balanced development for this area. Looking at the overall context of the site, you can really see why I'm described this area as a melting pot of uses. And that is, again, what makes it unique. When you take a step back and evaluate the full context, we believe the R4 zoning designation provides the right balance, bridging the more intense commercial uses to the east to the lower density residential to the west and south. And when you look at compatibility, this isn't defined by density alone. It's defined by use, design, and how a project transitions into the surroundings. Oaks Landing is a residential use, and through thoughtful site design, buffering, and product mix, it creates a natural and respective transition between these different land uses and patterns. The project will be constructed in 2 phases, or perhaps 1, with timing dependent on market conditions. Preliminary estimates estimate phase 1 to be completed in 2028. In response to Valley View's letter, the slide shows that near Highway 2026, CBH Homes has entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Valley View School District to donate approximately 12.40 acres for a future elementary school. This commitment demonstrates the applicant's proactive response to the district's needs and long-term investment for serving future students in this area. This commitment is valued at $2,294,000. We understand and are sensitive to the council's concern that development must pay for itself. Based on the analysis of current building permit impact fees and considering our proposed 84 residential homes, the estimated total impact fees generated by the project will be $1,169,000. I held a neighborhood meeting on November 20th last year, and it was well attended. For those that couldn't make it, I met them separately, including a meeting at Carol Meek's house in her kitchen, and I've had several follow-up conversations with the surrounding neighbors since. A big takeaway was that the discussions of traffic and many of the neighbors who opposed the Logan Apartments project down the street. So there's some around the topic of traffic and development that they all have. So taking the neighbors' concerns to heart and genuinely trying to be part of the solution rather than aggravate the issue, we're proposing the following improvements. Item 1 is a right turn lane into the development from Middleton Road. Item 2 is an additional right turn lane from Middleton Road onto Hunt Avenue. Item 3 is a dedication of right-of-way to accommodate a future left lane from Hunt onto Middleton Road. And item 4 is a right turn lane from Hunt onto Middleton Road. In addition to what is not shown on the slide, we'll also be coordinating with the City of Nampa on the following: installation of do not block signage along Middleton Road and pavement striping along Middleton to clearly designate do not block areas. We feel that these improvements will make a significant impact to the traffic concerns that the neighbors have for this area. Now, I'd like to walk you through the homes within Oaks Landing. The community will be offering 2 housing types, providing a range of floor plans and price points to meet a variety of housing needs. What you're seeing here on this slide is our traditional single-family homes. These homes are designed with comfort and functionality in mind, featuring open concept layouts, spacious kitchens, and ample backyard space for families to enjoy. We always strive to provide housing diversity in every community we design. What you're seeing on this slide is our bungalow product. These homes are more compact in design with alley-loaded garages, which allows the front elevation to become the focal point. With this product, we're requesting some reductions in our setbacks and lot sizes, triggering our request for a PUD. This product not only adds character to the neighborhood, but also provides a more attainable price point, with homes anticipated to start at $380,000. Additional overflow parking has been incorporated within Oaks Landing to accommodate special events and peak parking demand. As shown in this slide, 2 strategically located tandem parking pads are distributed adjacent to our bungalow product. Usable open space is a top priority, forming the foundation for our community's pathways, amenities, and overall connectivity. Within Oaks Landing, we have 2.35 acres of qualified open space at 15.25%, and overall the site has a total of 3 acres of landscaping for a grand total of 19.9%. Pathway and connectivity and walkability is also a priority within Oaks Landing, as seen in our pathway exhibit. Red depicts our community sidewalks. Orange depicts our 6-foot micro pathways that fan out throughout the site for a total of 1,763 linear feet. And then blue depicts our 10-foot sidewalk along Middleton Road. So as you enter the community and move along the main drive to your right on the north side, you'll come to our first amenity area. This is the community dog park designed as a dedicated space for residents and their pets to gather and enjoy. The location was intentionally selected to provide a sense of separation from the main residential areas, helping to minimize noise while still being easily accessible to the neighborhood. Our next amenity is designed to be a central gathering area within the development, and this is tucked away in our northwest corner. This area includes a multi-use open lawn, sport court, shaded pavilion, play logs, and seating areas, all connected to an integrated pathway network, creating an active yet comfortable space for everyday use and community gatherings. The central gathering area supports walkability, quality of design, and neighborhood livability consistent with the City of Nampa's long-term vision for quality development. Oh. I think I'm not on the, something happened, sorry. Hold tight. I'm almost done. There we go. And this slide shows a great perspective at the very edge of our open space. This shows the beautiful flow of the pathways, amenities that residents will love to use. And I do want to note that all of our amenities will be built within Phase 1. And finally, the one amenity that I'm most excited about is our wooded area to the west of the site. These are the existing trees that buffer the site from the west, and originally our design totally had them removed with the road. But with some thoughtful input, we were able to redesign this area to make it more passive with landscape seating areas, creating an inviting place to rest, gather, and enjoy the outdoors. It also provides the ultimate mitigation to the county lots to the north with a wall of trees to help minimize our development's impact to them. And then in summary, we feel that Oaks Landing is a thoughtfully planned infill community designed to provide a balanced blend of housing options, functional open space, and intentionally designed gathering areas. We feel that the design for Oaks Landing provides thoughtful transition for the area and a fresh new energy and feel to this section of Middleton Road. I'd like to thank staff for their time and assistance with the application. We're in full agreement with the staff report, and I did receive unanimous recommendation of approval from your Planning and Zoning Commission. And with that, I would like to thank you for the pleasure of your time, your thoughtful consideration, and respectfully request approval of our applications this evening. Thank you so much.
Sabrina, thank you.
Yeah.
So quick question.
Sure.
Your single-family RS4, actually, I can wait and ask Christie. Does the comp plan allow duplexes or apartments on this site? Great, thank you. So, council, any questions for Sabrina? Victor?
Sabrina, I see that this is a wonderful project, but I have a couple of questions for you.
Absolutely, please.
The thing that I'm trying to figure out is how does this match the current residential area there? And according to the north, they have 3/4 acre lots. To the south, single-family 1 acre lots, and east, 3/4 acre lots and community business. And then to the west, there's single-family 1/4 lots. And here, you're trying to use an RS4 for the amount of density. You call it medium, I'm calling it high density. That's what RS4 is. But looking at the whole entire neighborhoods, do you know what the population is surrounding that area, including the new apartment complex just to the east?
Councilmember Bills, Councilmember Rodriguez, I don't. That's a great question. And that's kind of what I was talking about when we take a step back and we look at the overall area, especially the intensity along Caldwell Boulevard and the apartments. I was trying to find that great midpoint that really works with the transition of the area, with the high uses, but also with the low density. And so we really feel like the R4 is right and appropriate for this location.
Follow-ups.
But maybe Christie might have the density calcs for that area.
I'll talk to her about that as well. But the other thing is I'm concerned with Middleton Road. And I know that the other subdivision, the apartment complex, is going to fix also part of that Middleton Road. So, and now you're having a turn lane for Middleton Road and for, what was four turn lanes to enter in and out. But on 55, you can only go west. You can't turn east. And on Middleton Road, if you can get into that, I'm looking for another alternative route. That's what I'm trying to figure out. And the only way that I see would be an easier route for you is one of your alternate routes is be through the east into that old subdivision where you're looking at 1 acre lots. And so, and I don't remember the street names, but that would cause an impact to those residences by the traffic. So do you have any ideas what you'll do to those, or are you going to help one way or another with that?
Well, council members, council president, so that, when I can go back to that slide. So we weren't required to do a traffic impact study. And again, one of the things that the neighbors expressed a lot of concern was the intersection of Hunt and Middleton. And so we're not required to do those turn lanes. That's something that we thought, what can we do? How can we help the community here? And so those extra turn lanes, those, again, aren't required by the city, not by a traffic impact. It's something that we're voluntarily wanting to do to help for the traffic concerns. Because it's hard, because they're kind of sandwiched in between that light at Karcher and the light at Caldwell Boulevard. And we completely understand that. And that's why it's so hard sometimes, these infill sites, when you're surrounded by development and the traffic's already there, how can we help the problem and not exacerbate it? You know what I mean? And so those two things with the left and right turn lane, as well as doing the do not block signage and striping, we feel, and we had our traffic engineer and they felt like that would help significantly. And we did have been coordinating with Daniel and staff, and they agreed that that would be helpful for overall for the community. And I'll get that slide up for you again.
Yeah, that's good, because I wanted to see that.
Thank you. It's not as fast as I want it to be.
It's okay.
There it is.
Yeah. I think you have a good ulterior route there, and I'm not questioning those routes. I'm just questioning the amount of traffic that's going to be consumed by the roads, and those roads are barely two vehicles can pass on them.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Which is no parking on those roads now. And in fact, the residents usually have 15 feet that they can park on their own side of the road. So that's what I'm concerned about.
Are you concerned about Hunt Avenue, or are you concerned about Middleton?
Both.
Or both, okay, I
Both. Oh,
figured,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah, both.
And that's so what's great is that we'll be providing additional right-of-way. We're providing the extension of the road, so they'll have that right turn lane onto Hunt. And then we'll be adding the curb, gutter, sidewalk, that this area is really missing that needed infrastructure at the moment, so.
And that's what I'm concerned about, because the other apartment complex on the east also is doing the same thing you're doing. So now we're going to get I can't see how you both are going to line up, or are you going to be in accordance with each other? That's what I'm worried about.
I wouldn't think we would,
Middleton Road.
Council President, Councilmember Rodriguez, that might be a better question for Daniel to answer. I don't see that there would be any conflict.
Yeah, I'll ask him that.
Okay, yeah.
I just want to clear that up.
No, thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Other questions?
Okay.
Sabrina, thank you.
I'll be back up if you have
Yes.
more. Thank you so much.
Christie, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President and council members. My name is Christy Watkins. I'm the principal planner for the city of Nampa. The action requested from you this evening is for approval of annexation and zoning to RS4 with a PUD and preliminary plat for the Oaks Landing subdivision. President Bills, you had asked about allowing duplexes or apartments in this zone. They would have to get a conditional use permit to do duplexes, but that would be the highest they could go, and they'd have to go back through another public hearing process to do that. They're not asking for that.
No, I understand they're not asking. I was trying to just confirm what could be asked above higher density than the RS4.
Yeah, so they could get a conditional use permit for duplexes, would have to go back through that public hearing process to do that.
Fourplexes or straight apartments, not
Not
allowed
allowed.
in this area?
No.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so the comprehensive plan future land use map states that this is a commercial designation with medium-density residential surrounding it on the east, west, and south. They are proposing to stretch that medium-density residential so that they don't have a huge pocket of commercial right there on Middleton Road. Number 2815 North Middleton Road is located in the commercial designation. 2724, which is across Middleton Road, is located in the medium-density residential designation. 2724 is not included in the plat. The annexation of that property is intended to provide the path of annexation for this larger parcel that is proposed to be subdivided. So the properties are enclaved. They are considered to be infill. To the north is Canyon County large lot, single-family lots, 3/4 plus acres. To the south, Canyon County subdivision, single-family lots, 1 acre. East, Canyon County, single-family, 3/4 plus acre lots, and BC community business. And then to the west is a Canyon County sub with 1/4 acre lots. A traffic impact study is not required for this development due to its size. They have been working with Daniel to come up with some solutions to decrease the stacking that might be happening on Middleton Road currently, and that's where those turn lanes will come in. They are required to provide a 10-foot side path along Middleton Road. And on Hunt Avenue, they are required to do full widening on the north side adjacent to the property, including curb, gutter, sidewalk, and pavement. There are sewer, water, and pressurized irrigation utilities available to this project, and they will be required to construct those to and through the property. So a PUD allows for a reduction in lot size by 20%. Therefore, the lots within the RS4 zoning district with the approved PUD can range from 3,200 square feet to 9,600 square feet. The lot sizes shown on the plat range from 3,323 square feet to 5,287 square feet. All of the lot width and depths proposed do meet city code as stated. They will not be reduced through the PUD. She already went through the qualified open space provisions. 2.35 acres is 15.2% of the gross acreage, although with all of the common area, it does come out to be 19.9%. So this is just a little bit of reference for you. From the northern residential structures, it is 365 feet to the properties on Moss Lane from the subject property line and to the other side of the 15.0 lateral irrigation ditch. Then there is 154 feet to the closest residence from the property line of the subject property. Each resident within this new subdivision will have a 15-foot rear yard minimum setback, although 15 feet is typically exceeded. They're usually closer to 20 to 30 feet. And then they also have a 30-foot wide roadway in there. Setbacks from the existing neighbors on the south range from 130 feet to 155 feet between the houses. So there's a 25-foot wide common area lot that exists. Like these all switched around on me. 15-foot rear yard setback minimum of 15 feet, which is typically exceeded. 60-foot wide Hunt Avenue, and then 30 to 55 feet from the edge of Hunt Avenue to the existing residences. On the west, those distances range from 125 feet to 150 feet between houses. There is a 55-foot wide common area lot with existing mature trees and a pathway, a 15-foot rear yard setback that is typically exceeded, a 30-foot wide Latah Drive on the other side of the tree line, and 20 to 45 feet from the edge of Latah Drive to the existing residences. And then to the east, this ranges from 160 feet to 175 feet between the houses, with a 25-foot wide landscape buffer, 15-foot rear yard setbacks, 100 feet wide right-of-way from Middleton Road, 20 to 25 feet from the edge of Middleton Road to the existing residences there. So that's just a reference to show that there's a lot happening between the structures. So correspondence that was received was regarding from the public, high density, traffic, and incompatibility with surrounding residences. GIS has requested a number of road changes. The forester has requested some replacement of tree species. The Valley View School District does have some concerns about school capacity, which is in their memo attached to the staff report. The police department is recommending a commitment to fund 0.26 additional officers and 0.13 additional support staff. And the engineering department has issued their standard comments for traffic, access, utilities, drainage, and irrigation. The fire department has stated that this development is located approximately 1.1 miles from Fire Station Number 4 with an approximate response time of 3 minutes. The impact fees that will be collected on this is $107,695 from just this development for the fire department. The subdivision will add approximately 241 residents to 85 residential lots with an increased personnel demand of potentially 0.24 firefighter positions. So when we accept an application for annexation, we have state law that we have to determine if we can accept this application or not. In this case, they have met all 4 of those criteria. All the landowners have consented to this annexation. The property is contiguous to the city limits. The comprehensive plan includes this area within our area of annexation, and the property is subject to the city's agreement with the highway district. There are 3 criteria to be used when determining the zoning. It has been determined that the request is in harmony with the comprehensive plan with the stretch of medium-density residential. The proposal would provide for uses that are deemed through the comprehensive plan to be compatible with adjoining residential properties. The proposed zoning is in the interest of the public and reasonably necessary, as the comprehensive plan defines compatibility as any properties that fall within the same land use designation. It meets the density required through the comp plan, and the development standards are compatible to each other and the city code, and they have provided a subdivision layout that meets city code. So these are the recommended conditions of approval as stated in the staff report, and you are welcome to add any as you see fit. And these are your potential motions, and I will stand for any questions.
Christie, thank you. Do you have,
Thank you.
Council, any questions for Christie?
Question, sir?
Yes, Councilman Rodriguez.
Okay, is the following streets in the county, and will we be, if they're in the county, will the city of Nampa be annexing them? Linda, George, Carroll, Hunt, and can't read the other avenue.
Councilman Bills, Councilman Rodriguez, Daniel Badger, City Engineer. We will be annexing Hunt, and they will be having to pull some utilities down Hunt to serve the development. The other roads that you mentioned there are not proposed to be annexed at this point.
Okay, so second question is then, will the city have to pay for renovation or fixing up this Hunt Street then?
They will be bringing sewer and I believe pressurized irrigation down, and so that will be handled during the design process for the final plat on what portions of that will have to be rebuilt by the developer as they bring their utilities down. The sewer typically runs down the center of the street, And so depending on the depth in the trenches, they may end up repaving the entire surface, or it may just be the center section. We don't have specific designs on that yet. That would
Right,
come at the time of the final plat.
I have several questions. All right, so the city of Nampa will have to fund repaving?
No, the developer will bring the utilities down and do the necessary improvements to Hunt as they bring the utilities through.
All right. Most of these residences have their own sewer and water. Will we
They're
be
on well and
affecting,
septic.
will we be affecting their water systems and septic tank systems?
So the proposed development is served by city pressurized irrigation, city domestic water, and city sewer. And so we would not be, we don't have any groundwater wells. I think the closest groundwater well we have out there would be well 9, which is south of Karcher, on Middleton, between Karcher and Flamingo. This would not affect any additional drawdown that would affect this area. The only potential impact would just be from the change in the irrigation side of things. And that would likely only affect if a well were extremely shallow, which is not typical for domestic wells.
Yeah, and I don't know how they irrigate out there. I would assume flood irrigation.
I would assume flood irrigation, and the development will be required to propagate all flood irrigation through their site. They've shown those things on their preliminary plat, and we'll do a final review on that with the final plat.
Okay, you said a big word, propagate. What does that mean?
They will have to, where the irrigation water comes into the property, they will have to take it all the way through and exit it at the same point it exits.
All right, thank you.
Daniel, I have a follow-up, but other council questions? So, obviously, the city, this is an enclave area, basically, that the city already engulfs the neighborhoods here. Recently, I think there's a narrow piece of property that was annexed and zoned RS6 to the
Christie's
west
showing
of
that on the,
Carroll Street and George Street.
off of Fabe, I think is how they say it.
Yes, I think so.
Mhm.
So that's a recent approval.
That is a recent annexation. There was not a development approval or development proposal that came through with that, though there has been some interest. We've had a pre-application meeting in the past, but that's been a couple of years ago, and we haven't seen anything come forward recently.
Okay, so that's been in for a little while.
Yeah, the annexation was just finalized a few months ago, but that was due to the applicant taking their time on getting the right-of-way dedications done on Moss to the north.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just trying to. So if anything, and so the county properties, the two subdivisions adjacent are on individual well and septic, or is it central well with septic?
I believe it's on individual wells and septics.
Okay. So similar to other areas, there's a point when city services may be needed.
Yes. When the applicant originally came in our discussions with them, our preference was, there are the two roads running north-south that bound the existing development there to their west. We did request that they utilize and improve that roadway, and they provided a plan with that. Subsequent to their meeting with the applicants, they came back and said, the applicants, or the meeting with the neighborhood, they came back to us and said, The neighborhood has really requested that we not do that, that we leave those trees, and so we worked with them on an alternative layout, which is what's before you today, that provides for future connections to those roads as those become improved and potentially come into the city at some who knows when future date. But that's where the current layout stemmed from, was based on the existing residents' requests.
Thank you. So at this time, we're going to move into the public testimony portion. And Shar, do we have people signed up?
Mr. Chair, we have 3 people have requested to provide testimony.
Okay. And so there's a sign-up sheet that
It's closed at
that's-
this point.
that's been turned in to us, but at the end, we allow for somebody who didn't sign up to still testify. And so public testimony, we'll call the first person. You have 3 minutes. We ask that you state your name and address when you come to the microphone.
Our first speaker is Cheryl Higley.
Good evening, President Bills and Council. Please pull out the handouts that Shar distributed. My name is Cheryl
Let's see.
Higley.
Excuse me just a second, Cheryl. Is that the handout that you were referencing earlier?
Maybe you can, Council President, confirm with Ms. Higley, is this a Valley View letter for
That
item
was actually
6.3?
from the packet.
Oh, from the packet, okay. This is, I think, page 48 or 49, I believe.
I have it on the bottom of the,
Okay, perfect.
so that is in the packet. The state statute is not, that I have attached.
Yes, yeah.
Is that
This
okay?
the form right here.
So did you want to make comment about that?
What I might recommend is, if a question does come up, as Ms. Higley or anyone raises the points in here, I'm happy to address any questions on the impact on school districts and elaborate on the state code that hits on that point.
Okay, all right. Cheryl, please continue.
Okay. I'm Cheryl Higley at 12441 South Abbott Downing Way. And I'm very thankful that the applicant has not brought forth another apartment complex on that road. I'm sure the neighbors there are too. A couple of things that when I was looking at the packet, the route to annexation just seems a little bit contrived with having the medium-density residential and then the commercial. Anyways, that just struck me when I looked at it. But my main point that I wanted to come before you today is that I love Idaho, but there's some things that I just do not understand, and one of them is the funding for schools. And, or maybe I should say the lack thereof, since there are no impact fees when building takes place. The existing residents do not approve bonds and levies to build new schools because they feel that growth should pay for itself. Yet developments keep getting approved. Joey Palmer's letter as Assistant Superintendent of Valley View School District lists 19 approved or proposed developments that will impact their capacity and their school district's capacity, and the total number of dwelling units is 6,855 on the letter that was in your packet that I provided you a copy of, so it'd be handy. 6,855, that's a lot. A lot of additional dwelling units and a lot of additional school children with a need for more schools. And my question is, has any consideration been given to implementing an ordinance for mitigation fees for schools as is mentioned in Idaho Statute 67-6513 regarding subdivision ordinances? I'm going to read the section that I underlined. Each such ordinance may provide for mitigation of the effects of subdivision development on the ability of political subdivisions of the state, including school districts, to deliver services without compromising quality of service delivery to current residents or imposing substantial additional costs upon current residents to accommodate the proposed subdivision. I read that code. I'm sure that legal counsel will interpret it, but it looks to me like there can be mitigation fees charged for development in order to help cover the schools. We can't just bury our head in the sand. I know from conversations with former Mayor Hogaboam that this was something that he really wanted to take a look at and consider. So please take the impact on the schools and school children into consideration when making your decisions. You have such tough decisions to make
Council
every
President,
meeting.
time.
Oh, anyways, and I just want to say, I pray for you all continually because you have so many decisions to make, and I just pray for wisdom and discernment for you, and that God will bless you for your service. Thank you.
Cheryl, thank you. It's been an ongoing deal. I have helped pass, at the time, it was a large bond issue in the Meridian District to build Eagle Middle School and Eagle High School. That goes back to the early, mid-90s. School funding has always been a complex issue, and the legislature, in its wisdom, has stayed away from impact fees for schools. And if you do the math, it would be almost impossible to figure out the charge to a residential lot for a future school site and/or the actual building. If you take Nampa Schools that did not pass a bond recently, been now a couple of years ago, they wanted 100 million. You took 100 million and tried to divide it amongst 1,000 lots and do that math, the impact fee is enormous. And therefore, it's also ambiguous. It doesn't necessarily meet the statute of impact. And it's been an ongoing deal since the mid-90s that I've known and been involved in it. So, short FYI, I know this is off course a little bit, but wanted to respond to the information. Next on the list for testimony.
Mr. Chair, our next speaker is Jay Kolob.
Good evening, council members. My name is Jay Kolob. I live at 11161 Moss Lane. And that's the property on the north side there that's about 2.5 acres. My concern this evening, I've understood that the PUD allows exemptions from the subdivision periphery lot compatibility requirements. My concern is whether this level of departure from the surrounding neighborhood pattern is appropriate for this location. I understand that the PUD allows for flexibility in design, but I would appreciate if the council would carefully consider whether the proposed lot sizes and overall layout are compatible with the existing character and development pattern of the surrounding area, which largely reflects RS6 style development. While there is significant distance between my house and the future existing homes, this proposal could allow for a future house to be located approximately 15 feet from our livestock. Additionally, I'm concerned about the subdivision outlet on the west side of the property that goes onto Laytaw Drive and what that interface will look like in practice. My understanding is the public right-of-way there is only about 30 feet. It's currently not actually maintained by the county, while it is in their purview, is my understanding. And the road conditions there are challenging at best. That's all I have tonight. Thank you for the work you do.
Thank you. We'll be asking a question of the applicant when that time comes. Next.
Mr. Chair, our next speaker is Ray Valdez.
My
name's Ray Valdez. I live in 11183 West Hunt Avenue. Anyway, like I mentioned last time I was here, there's between 394 rentals, between 394 and 706 rentals in Napa. There's approximately 39,100 to 41,500 homeowners in Napa. But according to U.S. Census, there's 58,700 total. There's between 1,000 to 1,200 homes for sale in Napa. I think we should be starting to fill these things first instead of putting houses where they don't belong. We need to fill up the 1,200 homes that are empty. We need to fill up the 706 apartments that are empty. We don't have to continue building and building and building, because once we continue building and building and building, what's going to happen? Your property, my property, is going to drop in price, in value. It's not going to go up, it's going to go down. And that's being looked at, like in Arizona, for instance. Those houses are they're dropping like a rock. If 41,500 homes received a tax credit of $200 because the properties went down, there will be 8,300,000 lost. But according to the U.S. Census, if the 58,700 homes are actually here in Napa, then that would be a drop of 11,740,000. And it would take 40 years to recoup that money that has been lost because we have overbuilt. We don't need all them houses on Hunt Avenue. What we need is probably some commercial property there. Maybe like what they're doing across the street from the Maverick. You got Dutch Brothers, you got a Burger King, and a place where you change oil. But we need that instead of all these houses that are keep building and building and building. And what's going to happen? Your property is going to drop, drop, drop. And then all of a sudden, you're going to go to the tax man. You're going to ask him, give me a break on my taxes because my house isn't worth $600,000 no more. It's only worth $500,000. So let's fill up these apartments first. There's a Faith Landing, there's 400 units. The Jackson, there's 400 units. Pinehurst, there's 84 townhouses. Carway, there, is my time up? Got 32 seconds. 52 units. Logan, which is just built right behind the Maverick, there's 244 units. And these apartments are not even filled. For instance, the Logan is only filled 20%. Why put all that stress on Middleton Road when it's already stressed out with all that traffic that's there right now? Let's quit building, and let's think about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others signed up? We don't have anybody else signed up. However, if you have somebody who would like to still testify, you're welcome to come forward. When you come forward, you need to state your name and your address. And if there's multiple, you just stage a little bit of a line. So the person at the podium and then somebody at the chair.
I'm Chip Miller, and I live at 11087 West Hunt Avenue. I was just wondering which one of us gets the privilege of having that street coming straight into our bedroom window and seeing the lights. We also have grandchildren that live there where they're putting that on. And I appreciate Mr. Rodriguez. I really appreciate your insight. I brought that same thing up and it was just squashed. But the size of those houses going in there, I laid carpet, and you know, it's just way too compact and compressed in there. It doesn't fit with all of us there. And it really hurts my heart just retiring and having lived there 28 years. And I'm going to have not only 300 apartments over on one side, but I'm going to have 85 houses on 15 acres when we have 2 teens going to Valley View, and I would hate for them to have to change schools. It's going to be a major impact. Right now, we see at 5 o'clock, don't try to get on Middleton Road. At at any given time, you'll hear the drag race down Hunt Avenue. And a boy just rolled his car right in front of Ray's house because he was speeding down the road and went right into the trees. And if they would have built the exits over where the trees were that they so eloquently decided to leave there, they're Russian olive, they're not anything in, you know, okay. But I just want to say that I'm really distraught with the amount that they're putting in. I'm not one to say don't do anything with your property, but I am saying it really hurts my heart to see that kind of compact area where you can't even mow your own lawn on the side because they're so packed in there. We really need to look at how many they're putting in there. The man at the other one, when we were there, he said, well, it just doesn't compute for financial, you know, being able to make the money. We can't give 2 million to this and 1 million to that, but we can say that we've lived there a long time and we've supported Nampa in many, many ways. And I just want to know that we can finish out our days in a place that we found to be very appealing, and hope that they would consider that they are not a part and they are not conducive to the area there as many as they're putting in there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, that's not mine.
Is there anybody else who would like to testify?
My name is Arden Schmidt, and I live at 11353 West Zachary Avenue in Moss Lane, just to the west of that. And I've never been to a meeting here, so forgive me if I do something wrong. But for them not to involve the traffic in there, I mean, it is absolutely horrible. Thank God I'm retired because I don't have to go out at 8 in the morning or at 5. But you cannot get on Middleton Road. And they've closed Middleton Road from Karcher to Flamingo, so you can't go that way. They have Midway Road, they just now opened it up. That's been closed. And you have all this traffic, you have to go around all this construction. And Middleton Road, if I understand right, they're going to try and make that all a 4-lane, correct? What does not the Transportation Department have any input in this kind of stuff? And if it doesn't, why? You would think just common sense, you would need to look at the traffic. How are you going to get in and out of there? And also, there's a big tree there on Middleton Road. It's huge. It's a beautiful tree. You're not going to tear that thing. South of Moss Lane, they have Highline wires there, and right under the Highline wires, they planted about 20 trees. Why would somebody with common sense do that? Whose tax money gets to pay for cutting those trees and trimming those trees down like they did just down the street there, and they just butcher them? They look horrible. And you guys go by Karcher Road very often? Have you been down there lately? It's
Try to stay away from
absolutely,
there.
it's hell. It is, and we're just making it more and more complicated. And I don't see what common sense would let that. Let's just complicate it more. Does common sense understand that? Thank you.
Is there anybody else wishing to testify? Say again?
So did you think I wasn't?
I didn't think about it.
Margie Potter, 1811 North Cobble Way. I live in the north east section of Middleton and Karcher, behind like the Karcher Church of the Nazarene area. So I drive this every day. I have kids that live on Hawkins back there. And I think I really like rear-facing units. And again, like I always talk about, and I said I'll keep coming up here, is about that missing middle, that these are homes where people that live in apartments can't move into those big houses that are sitting there. They can't afford that. They're going to want to move into these starter homes, right? And people will eventually move out of those and move up into the bigger ones, and people kind of move up progressively like that. And if we don't have those, we're going to keep having these problems of that lower end apartments and then the higher end. We need what's in the middle. I always vote for the bonds in my area, even though I don't have children living at home, because you know, I understand what the laws are in Idaho and that we can't consider those things, and it is really important. I drive this every day, and it is horrible because of Karcher Middleton being closed right now, and all the work being done on Karcher and over on Middleton, but that's going to be fixed. I believe going down Middleton, if I'm right, somebody could tell me later, if where the new Burger King and the Dutch Bros is, I think that's Latah. There's a right turn-in lane there that can go back in there, so that helps as well. We keep complaining about this, the infrastructure. We got to get caught up. We got to get caught up. And I don't know where that money's coming from, you know, because we can barely have a budget, you know, that can fix the stuff that we need to. So when you have a developer coming in that's willing to put in a really good product and make those things that we need, like the turn lanes and widening and all that, to help relieve what's already there, I am for that, because how else are we going to get that going? So I think people, when they come in and they're really, I mean, this developer in particular, I think is very considerate of everybody's input. Not all developers are, but this one in particular has always taken into consideration everybody's needs, and I think that they build a really good product. So thanks. That's all I have.
Margie, thank you. Anybody else wishing to provide any public testimony on this issue? Not seeing anybody coming forward, we'll ask the applicant to come back and give a response.
Council members, thank you again for your time this evening. And I would like to sincerely thank the neighbors for coming out and sharing their thoughts. I've been speaking with them since last November. I understand their frustration and fatigue that comes with change in this area. That is exactly why we've worked really hard to bring forward really thoughtful, real solutions to you this evening. First, we're providing the additional right-of-way along Hunt Avenue that I discussed with Councilmember Rodriguez. And this is to accommodate both the left and right turn lanes. And again, this is not a requirement for this development. This is something we're proactively offering to help improve the traffic flow. Second, we're committing to the striping improvements of the do not block signage. I think these are simple but practical things that will help immediately and that we can make a difference to the neighbors and can be easily coordinated during our construction. Third, it's been very intentional in our design to transition to the west. It would have been easy to remove the row of mature trees, but we chose not to. We had an arborist go out there, and she said the trees are extremely healthy and in good shape. And so preserving those trees not only maintains the character of the area, it creates a meaningful buffer between our development and the existing county lots. In many ways, it's the best mitigation that we can provide. So let's go through some of the neighbors' concerns. As far as schools, Caldwell's doing voluntary donations, $500 a lot. But Mr. Barton has donated a significant amount of land that's going to help this area for another elementary school that's valued over $2 million. That's a significant contribution. As far as the PUD, we're not asking for the PUD. The only area within the site is the one row of our bungalow homes. Everything else is meeting the R4 standards. That bungalow just kind of creates a little more impact, or compact product that we can help bring lower prices. And unfortunately, that's kind of how it's tied to make it more affordable. So the bungalow products are at $380,000, and then our standard RS4 is a little bit over $400,000, which really is, unfortunately, at this day and age, at an affordable price point for this area. As far as the rentals, I don't have information on Mr. Valdez's data and information. I do know that what I've been told, that what analysts have been saying is that we're having a housing crisis, that there is a shortage of housing, and especially at an affordable price point. As far as the traffic, again, we're helping mitigate. But we did some traffic counts on Hunt, our traffic engineer, just out of sheer curiosity. And he explained to me that, I asked him, please rate those intersections. Is it an F? Are we failing? And he said, the existing AM is at a level B, and at PM is at a level C. So he saw a little traffic pile up. Like there was a few, as far as stacking, there was a few cars that need to take a left on Middleton the road. But other than that, he didn't see a huge impact as far as numbers, which was kind of confusing because the neighbors are telling me that there's significant impact, there's a lot of traffic, and our traffic counts didn't show it. So again, we're trying to help the situation. I feel like those left and right turn lanes are going to make a huge difference with the signage. Let me just make sure I have, and then the tree. The tree, there is a beautiful oak tree out front off of Middleton that myself and the landscape architect fell in love with when we went out there. Unfortunately, that tree is in the right-of-way, and that is why we called it Oaks Landing, in kind of homage to the tree. But unfortunately, with the expansion of Middleton Road, the right-of-way that's needed, the tree is going to have to be removed. So, and in closing, I just want to keep in mind, I feel like I've addressed it, and if there's additional questions you have for me, please ask me at the end. But this project is a true infill development. We're not extending infrastructure outward. We're building within an existing area. We're utilizing established services and contributing to the efficiency of the community as a whole. Now, as far as the county lots, those were considered the standard 40, 50 years ago. It's very different than the reality of this area today. At that time frame, farmland was transitioning to county subdivisions, and now we're surrounded the site to the west and south, but over the decades, this area has experienced significant reinvestment and change with the Caldwell Boulevard, today commercial intensity,
Mr. Chair,
multifamily
time.
development, and industrial uses nearly surround this infill development. So we feel that our application is a great midpoint, a great transition for what the future has for this area versus the past. And with that, I'll thank you again, stand for any questions, and again, would love to have a approval for this evening. Thank you.
Council, any questions for Sabrina? Sabrina, thank you for the follow-up.
Okay, thank you.
So with that, would stand for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any council questions of staff or discussion?
I have a question of staff, sir.
Councilman Rodriguez.
Daniel. Have we modified according to our transportation plan for Middleton Road to accept these new subdivisions or new traffic?
Middleton Road is on our impact fee corridor, so improvements are anticipated for Middleton Road in this area. We do not have those, they're not in the current 5-year plan, but they are on the impact fee list, and so they would typically be within the next 8 to 10 years. The improvements that are happening to the south on Middleton Road right now, in addition to the improvements that are happening on Karcher, should significantly improve the levels of service and the stacking conditions that are happening on that southbound leg of Middleton, which will help mitigate some of the traffic concerns there at Hunt by reducing those stacking queue lengths. That's one of the issues that currently is there, that with the Karcher Road improvements, that intersection is not functioning at full capacity until we get that redone, which is anticipated to be completed prior to them when they have said they would be looking at completing their first phase, as well as the improvements there to the south of Karcher on Middleton are anticipated to be completed this in the, I want to say it's this summer, July, August timeframe, if I remember correctly. And that will allow for multiple lanes coming south, which can help reduce those queue lengths as we go north.
Follow up. When the developer is talking about making turn lanes, and we don't have a transportation plan that coincides with them, so you're going to be directing them on what our plan is, right?
So the city's master plan for arterial roadways, Middleton Road is an arterial. Ultimate build out of that roadway will be a 5-lane facility, so 2 northbound, 2 southbound, and a center turn lane. And so we will coordinate in the design of this development to make sure that the improvements that they are putting in work with that ultimate plan for Middleton Road. So while we don't have specific designs for this area, we do know what that roadway will look like in the future, and we can coordinate their improvements with what the city will ultimately have for that roadway.
So when you hear that the developer wants to do an idea with their traffic, you're actually going to say, hold on.
No,
You
no.
gotta follow our rules, right?
We have looked at what they have proposed. I've reviewed that with Matt Ricks, the traffic engineer, as well as my own experience. What they are proposing is well within what we would like to see in that area to help mitigate traffic and will function well with what will ultimately happen with the roadway. So no, what they've proposed to do is well within what we would want to see.
Well, that's just what I wanted to clear up, that I know the developers want to do this and do that on the streets, but I just wanted to make sure it fits within our.
Yeah, absolutely. We can support the improvements that they've proposed.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? Thank you, Daniel.
Council President,
Yes.
just have a comment. We hear lots of things about traffic today, for everything that we get, and it doesn't matter where you go in Treasure Valley, the traffic is bad. I don't think it's just isolated to Nampa. We hear a lot about protecting farm ground too, and I'm all for that. This infill project is a good way to do that, and the density, if we don't keep those densities up there, then we get sprawl, and that's how we don't protect our farm ground. So I think the density fits, and the type of home fits for transitional housing from an apartment to 3,000 square foot house. So there's something in the middle. And some people don't want to mow their lawn. So this fits there. I was thinking that might be great. I wouldn't have to mow the lawn. And then the infill projects are something that we've been looking at for a while for annexation. And so I think that we need to keep that in mind. The school district thing, from the day one that I got on council, we were told that we were not to bring those school district asks or needs into consideration for a project. And there's statute that follows that, and legal can explain that more, but the school boards are elected separately than what city council is, and they, as an elected body, have a budget that they follow. They have planning that they need to follow, and it's completely different from what the city does. And I know that it's interesting the legislature has not taken that up, but the fact of the matter is they haven't, and it's not city council's purview to control what the school has or doesn't have. I've seen them do lots of instances where they try to hold the per door fee over the developer's head. I don't agree with that. I think that this is very generous for this developer to give away $2 million of the property for a school. That's very forward thinking, and that's very Idahoan of this developer, so that's appreciated.
Council President,
Yes.
if I can build on Councilman Reynolds' comments, when it comes to school districts, it is an area that hits home to a lot of people, and it's good to level set what can and what can't be relied on. Recall that this is an annexation decision, first and foremost, tonight. There's kind of a few layers here, right? You have that legislative decision, maybe call it the threshold, gatekeeping issue. Can it be annexed in? That's a pretty open playbook, as we've talked before in trainings. Obviously, we can't rely on speculative information or evidence. Can't be arbitrary or capricious, but if there's substantial evidence in the record, that can be considered. To Councilman Reynolds' point, I think what he's getting at is a school district doesn't hold a veto card. They are welcome to weigh in. In fact, state statute requires that they receive notice. In a comprehensive plan, there's a required element for addressing school capacity, and that's actually in our adopted NAMPA comprehensive plan, anticipating the school capacities in our area and where we would grow. And so, yes, school districts can weigh in, but there is no veto card per se. To my knowledge, there hasn't been any request for the door or rooftop fee. That's a matter we've addressed previously with what I would call unauthorized mitigation fees. And some jurisdictions participate in that. That's not one that I would advocate here. But for your decision tonight, the school district's letter and the citation that was provided in 67-6513, it does allow you to consider on the zoning piece the mitigation effects that might be needed, but any fees can't be imposed. I think we've clarified that here tonight. Those have to be impact fee eligible, and that's spelled out in the code there. So just a helpful reminder where and what roles a school district's comments can play in a decision like this tonight. It can be considered, but it's one of a multitude that you've received tonight in other evidence and testimony.
Thank you.
Council President,
Yes.
I just wanted to say a couple of things. First of all, I wanted to say I appreciate neighbors coming and testifying. It's not easy to stand up and share what's really bothering you, and we do hear you. I apologize for the apartments crowding all that area in there. I personally don't think that the apartments should be there. But I do see that this project is well thought out, and I do appreciate that. I appreciate that you have taken into consideration the roads as much as you can at this point. And there's something that Councilman Reynolds said that it's true. Our area is so heavy with traffic. And I've lived in Nampa for almost 35 years. And so when you've lived here this long, it really overwhelmed you because we're used to being able to get across town in 15, 20 minutes, and now it's definitely 30 to 40 minutes at times. And so, you know, that's the headache and that's the pain of the growing process that we're in. I think that these homes, I was recently in some meetings, I think Margie was there too, that they talked about how we have plenty of rentals and we have a good amount of upper end homes, but this project right now is where we're missing. We don't have enough starter homes. We don't have enough homes that come in between for people to build and or to buy and live in with their families. And I personally have 6 adult children, and 2 of them are blessed to own Corey Barden homes because they fall into that area of price. And so, man, I go back and forth. You know, I want to say no more building, but at the same time, I believe that we do have to continue and be good stewards of how we build and where we build. And I think this is a good project.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Mm-hmm.
President Beals?
Yes.
Okay. The way I see this is when you have a building or a development like this, that it should coincide and it should appear similar to the zoning that's next to it or the residence that's next to it. When you have 85 homes stuck in between these acres, in between these wonderful large family lots, that doesn't coincide with me. The thing that I worry about the most is, number one, is increase of city services to that area that our taxpayers will have to pay for. The second thing is the public safety issue. You just don't have enough police officers to go around, let alone respond to your police. The density is an issue. And whoever said that Middleton Road is a mess in the mornings, I think you had other words for it, but you didn't say because of us. and it is a mess. And the amount of traffic between 6 and 9 is terrible. Well, guess what? It's getting terrible all day long. So you're waiting for the city of Nampa to come up with a solution to take care of Middleton Road for you. And it sounds like we will do that. The density issue is a medium density, but the whole surrounding area makes it a high density. And so one thing that I wish that the developers would understand is that they may be a medium density area, but the entire logistically neighbors should be low density. That's what you folks have right now is low density. So when I hear the starter homes, smaller homes, 300,000 to 400,000. Boy, I remember that number is just out of this world. So I'm not sure that competes with me as well. But because of this area right now, this area is so impacted with development. I just can't approve this. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't look good. And it does impact our community, so I won't be supporting this. Thank you.
So a couple of comments. One is our ordinance, the Nampa ordinance since for the last 7 years, when the RS4 was implemented, encourages infill, and this is an infill area. And it's purposeful in what it lays out and the reasons to make use of the infrastructure that is there from other developments and to not have the large lots as was done in the county. There's a time coming, as we know from our engineering and others, that a great deal of the county projects, whether individual wells or central systems and septic, will have challenges in years to come, maybe months to come for some. And a project like this, and one reason the RS4 was put together was to bring infill infrastructure in to be available to serve the county projects that are going to reach the end of their life and on stuff. And we've seen, and council has approved in the last couple of years of me being on council again, extending services to county lots because they cannot, their lot doesn't allow for a replacement drain field. So I think this project is within what the city of Nampa has asked for, what the ordinances allow for, and I think the applicant has put together a layout that is conducive. The turn lanes will assist people moving out of traffic and having a slow down, speed up area. That's the purpose of the turn lanes. And that's been included, as I understand and look at the plat. Therefore, I see that while it's uncomfortable and understandable for the comments, from the master planning point of view and having other city properties in, near, and basically touching, accessible, this application does make sense and does meet our ordinance. With that, I would stand for a motion.
Council President?
Yes.
I have one more comment. Something else that we talk about affordable housing all the time. I have a 19-year-old son at home. He's graduated. He wants to move out, and I hope he moves out someday, but he can't afford to move out. And he makes good money. He works hard. I don't know when he'll be able to afford to buy a house. That's scary. But right now he can't even afford to rent one. So saturation point is something that we talk about a lot. We have real estate professionals come and talk to us at our workshops. We're not at the saturation point. When we get there, then we will get affordable housing. That's how we do it. We're certainly not going to subsidize housing from Nampa. We don't have that kind of money, and I don't think this council would ever have a desire to do so if we did have the money. But we need to get there. We need to watch out for our future homeowners and our youth that are graduating. So I think that it's important to keep that in mind too. The inventory that was spoken about, it's got several factors that go into it, and I would encourage you to come to one of our workshops when we talk about those kind of things, because you can learn a lot there from these real estate professionals. With that, I would make a motion to approve the project as stated on the screen with all conditions of approval and findings as stated in the staff report.
We have a motion. We have a second. Is there further discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Bills?
Yes.
Rodriguez?
No.
Skog?
Yes.
Reynolds?
Yes.
3 in favor, 1 opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on to item 6-4.
Council President, could we
Yes.
take a short 5-minute
Absolutely.
break? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Hard, I know. I'm as heartbroken as you are, trust me.
Oh, wow, okay, so it wasn't just an option, which is good. Good for you. School districts, running empty numbers, right?
No. Sounds like he's down there going, no.
Okay, we're going to call this meeting back to order. Got everybody's back here. Okay, Councilman Rodriguez. Okay. All right, our next item is item 6-4, which is an annexation and zoning to IL, Light Industrial Zoning District, and potential development agreement. Addressed as 1722, 1820, 0 and 0 East Iowa Avenue for David Snow. Original concept annexation to ensure regulatory land use consistency in order to continue to operate the Clearwater Landscape Construction Company. Is the applicant here? Hello.
I'm the representative.
Say again?
I'm the representative, Carrie Smith, and I reside at 17741 Linden Lane, Caldwell, Idaho. May I begin?
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. I am the representative for Clearwater Landscaping, and as you stated, this is a request for annexation and a zone change to light industrial. And on the screens in front of us, you can see, I like to call this an infill project, and from the map where you're looking at, it doesn't quite look like an infill project, but if you zoom out, it is an infill project. The city does surround most of this area. There is a seed business to the north and residential uses, including rural residential uses, to the east and to the south, and then more of like an agricultural rural setting directly to the west of the property. I want to talk to you a little bit about Clearwater Landscaping. This isn't a new business, and this isn't a request for speculative zoning. This is a business that's celebrating their 25th anniversary this year in operation in the Canyon County. They started their business in Caldwell in 2001. They moved to Nampa in 2006. They've been in the current location for 12 years. The current uses include storage of business vehicles and trailer parking with equipment. They have a lot of plants and nursery materials, irrigation, landscape supplies. It includes some mulch, soil, and aggregate. The requested zoning fits the actual uses that are within that area, and then most importantly, it also fits the comprehensive plan text and the future land use map. I was in front of you in December of 25 when we requested to change that designation to industrial, and we also, the seed company to the north was included in our request as part of that. Let's see, one of the things that I wanted to definitely note, there was a lot of discussion in the last hearing about existing services, and this is one of those requested uses that's a net positive for the tax base. And I was a previous county commissioner, and I had the pleasure of visiting with the former Mayor Hogaboam quite a bit about our tax base and those services. And as you all know, he was pretty incredible at that. And so This is one of those uses that the potential use and demand on public services is going to be very minimal. And so the amount of tax revenue that they're going to be generating for the city is going to be one of those tax positive benefits for you. So I know that's not one of your specific considerations, but it is in the public interest, which is one of your last considerations for approval. There is an existing residence on the house, and an employee does live in that house, and they do provide oversight of the property for 24-hour care and security. I also want to mention that Clearwater Landscape has a deep community connection, especially with Valley View and Ridgeview schools. He's been one of the sponsors at Ridgeview for many years. And we have, I don't want to repeat what's in the staff report, but we did spend some time and went through that staff report. We fully support staff's findings. All of the agencies that did respond, we do agree with the recommended conditions of approval that were in place. I'd like to note that we don't have any public comment, and at the last Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, we did have 2 neighbors that attended the meeting and spoke to us afterwards that were in support of the project, and they were happy to see it moving forward. Mr. Snow has been a very great neighbor to those neighbors. Anytime one of the neighbors, especially the immediate neighbors, has needed something, they've got his phone number, and he's been able to help with any needs that they've had. So in closing, I would respectfully ask for your approval this evening and for this long established business, and I would stand for questions.
Council, any questions for the applicant representative? Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Christy, you're up.
Okay. Thank you, President Bills and Council. Christy Watkins, Principal Planner for the City of Nampa. As stated, the request before you is for annexation and zoning to IL for the 4 parcels on Iowa Avenue. In December of just this last year, a comprehensive plan map amendment was approved to change the designation from medium-density residential to industrial to facilitate this particular annexation and to bring the seed factory into conformance. So as she stated, the properties around it, some are residential, but to the north is the light industrial property where the seed company exists, and this would be compatible with that. So the engineering department has a couple of requirements for this. They will be required to dedicate 40 feet along Iowa to complete that annexation. A traffic impact study is not required due to the use and the amount of traffic that it's generating now. And there are domestic water, sewer, and pressurized irrigation all in Iowa and available to the property should it be needed. Okay, sorry. So when accepting an annexation application, we have the 4 criteria in state code. He has consented to the annexation of the property. The property is contiguous to the city limits. The comprehensive plan includes this area of annexation, and the property does meet with the agreements between the city and the highway maintenance district. For zoning, there are 3 criteria that need to be found to be met to determine the zoning. This project proposes a zone that is compatible with the adjoining districts. This project proposes a use that is compatible with the adjoining uses, and the development of this property is in the interest of the public and reasonably necessary because it proposes the addition of an enclaved parcel into the city of Nampa limits. It has city services and utilities immediately available to it, and any new construction will bring improvements to the property per city code. Will also include design review elements when it is built upon. The conditions of approval are as stated in your staff report. And these are the potential motions. I'll stand for any questions.
Are there questions for Christy? So Christy, I have a question. Could we have a annexation agreement that restricted the use to the landscape business, and with that zoning designation IL, and that there would only be that single use that's being approved and not any other IL use. So we have an IL use that has a whole list of things that are allowed under the IL designation. So one day the landscape business decides to move, is done, and if we just zone to the IL, there's a whole lot of uses that could go there that could affect the residential neighborhoods that surround this property. So can we
Yes.
restrict?
President Bills, thank you for that question. Yes, absolutely, we could have them enter into a development agreement that does exactly that and says upon redevelopment of the property, they'd have to do a development agreement modification to come in and tell you what it is they're planning to do. If you just wanted to limit it to that one use, that is appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
At this point, we would ask for public testimony if there's anybody signed up.
No, Mr. Chair.
Is there anybody here wishing to make comment on this application that did not sign up? Seeing nobody come forward. The applicant, is there any further remarks? Okay, the applicant says no. There, any further questions of staff? Stand for a
President.
motion to close public hearing.
Mr. President,
Yes.
real quick, I'm gonna ask a question of the applicant.
Okay.
And are you, is your client agreeable to having a development agreement that states it's for a landscape business only?
Thank you. This is Carrie Smith for the record. I did just ask him. He said he has no intent of moving from that location, and so he's not opposed to that condition, if that's something that you would all like. So it would be a fine condition. I don't know if it's necessary, but it would be fine.
Thank you. Council President, I make a motion to close public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So my thinking, council, is what I've already stated before, and because the bulk of this area is residential, the industrial that was zoned and annexed in December was basically a pre-existing industrial park, and the residential came in around that existing industrial park, and it located there because at that time the railroad tracks still went south, and you're seeing that green line, that's now a pathway, which was the Stoddard rail. So understandably, for a business to want to continue there and be there legally, but I think it leaves a door way open for future, to say, light industrial. So if you recall the discussions we had over light industrial and how did it go, not heavy industrial for a concrete batch plant a year plus ago, is this type of a deal. It gets zoned for an IL for one use, and that use doesn't go forward, and one day somebody comes in and says, well, it's IL, and I read the zoning ordinance, and it gives me a host of opportunities of things I can do, including a concrete batch plant. And my concern is, if we do not restrict to the use that the applicant's asking for, we open ourselves one day for that same issue to come about again. And so I feel like we need to annex this subject to a development agreement that has the restriction of the use. It grants the zoning, but the zoning is subject to the one use. Rodney, you disagree or have concerns?
I'm sorry to interrupt there. I just wanted to give you one other alternative approach. Not to say that this approach couldn't work, I think it could. The other approach could be that you require they go through like a conditional use permit to change any land use that is approved in the industrial zone, in the IL zone. You could require that they go through a conditional use permit instead of the development agreement modification. And the reason I say that is just because a DA modification is a little more tedious for staff. We have to modify it and then record it with the county, whereas a conditional use permit is just an internal city action that you do. So again, both are good options. I just wanted to present that as another option that they were agreeable to. So.
Okay, so I understand that, but just like the batch plant, it had the industrial zone and was slated for originally to be incubator steel buildings. And because it had the industrial zone, the original owner decided not to build buildings and sold the property. And the other party looked at it and said, well, City of Nampa's ordinance gives me all these options, and one is a concrete batch plant. And because there was no restrictions on what could be done, so I look at this property, this is sitting surrounded by residential, and somebody can come in, and if we just zone it IL, we got 2 columns of uses under IL that are available. And you're saying, well, let's just do a conditional use permit would have to come back. We've just opened the door up and somebody's going to argue and say, that's IL zoning and it's allowed. Yeah. And I'm looking at it saying, the city's trying to accommodate the wishes of the property owner to continue to operate his business there, and that was the reason to be here in December, and now we're back here. But I'm looking future forward. What does it mean to Iowa, and what does it mean to the residential neighborhoods?
Yeah. Mr. Chair, you do not have to convince me. I think you're totally within your rights to do that, and I was just offering another option.
I understand. I'm just responding to your option.
Yeah.
Council President, maybe for Rodney too, in an IL zone, if I may ask real fast, Council President, looking at the, I guess, land use table, does staff feel comfortable with the limited number of conditional use eligible uses within an IL? Is that a small scope of uses that's even potentially offered as a CUP?
Yeah, there's not very many. Our IL zone has a lot of land uses that are just permitted outright. So to Councilman Bill's point, it is very, very flexible. So my thought was maybe even those CUPs in the IL zone wouldn't even be permitted at all, right? Maybe it's just the permitted ones that still have to go through a conditional use permit. But the approach that they're taking, I'm totally comfortable with.
Okay. Yeah. That might help clarify. Thank you.
Yeah.
Council President,
Yes.
I move to approve the project as stated on the screen with recommended conditions of approval and the proposed findings with a development agreement that states that this can be used for a landscape business only.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to grant the zoning to IL conditioned with a development agreement that specifies it's a landscape business only. Any other use would require approval, would be how the development agreement would read. So I'm understanding what your intent was.
That's correct.
Okay,
You
and
follow
your second?
a standard DA modification under this course. Yep.
Okay. Any further discussion? We had a motion and a second, right? Trying to do two things.
You're doing great.
Clerk will call the roll.
Bills,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Fogg,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Well, you got what you want for the moment. Okay. Moving on to item 7. Action item 7.1 is a first reading of ordinance for zoning map amendment from RS6, single-family residential, to BC Community Business Zoning District addressed as 1111 11th Avenue North for Raquel Pedraza. And we request to pass this under suspension of rules.
An ordinance of the City of Nampa, Idaho, determining that a certain land commonly known as 1111 11th Avenue North, parcel number R129800100, located in the northwest 1/4 of Section 23, Township 3 North, Range 2 West, Boise Meridian, totaling .46 acres more or less, is currently zoned RS6 single-family residential by Canyon County and is contiguous to the limits of the City of Nampa, Canyon County, State of Idaho, and that said land should be rezoned BC Community Business Zoning District on .46 acres more or less, declaring said lands by proper legal description as described below to be a part of the City of Nampa, determining that said rezoning is in the best interest of the public and consistent with the comprehensive plan, directing the city engineer and the planning and zoning director to add said property to the official zoning maps of the City of Nampa, and to designate said property as BC Community Business on the official zoning map and other area maps of the city, providing for conditions of approval, providing for recordation, providing for severability, providing an effective date, repealing all ordinances, resolutions, orders, or parts thereof in conflict herewith, and directing the city clerk to file a certified copy of the ordinance and the map of the area to be rezoned with the Canyon County, State of Idaho, and the Idaho State Tax Commission pursuant to Idaho Code Section 63-215.
Council President, I move that we pass this under suspension of rules.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to pass under suspension of rules. Any comments? Clerk will call the roll.
Bills,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Skog,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Next item that we have is an executive session. It's an action item, motion to adjourn into executive session pursuant to Idaho Code 74-2061B, to consider the evaluation, dismissal, or disciplining of, or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual agent or public school student. To consider evaluating certain city staff as part of personnel and organization restructuring. Additionally, item J, to consider labor contract matters authorized under section 74-206A, 1A, and B, Idaho Code, to evaluate contract negotiations with MPPA.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
No.
Aye.
No, excuse me, roll call.
Roll call.
Skog,
Yes.
Bills,
Yes.
Rodriguez.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
The next item we'll do after we're done with the executive session, which is the adjournment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
We're all confused.